And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Thursday, October 24th. I am Josh Engleman, and I'm here to break down a 4-game NBA slate. It's a little calmer in the NBA streets today compared to yesterday where we had 10 games. Today, just 4. A couple teams still playing for the first time. Couple we get to see for the second time. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to get away from yesterday, which was disgusting. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live, and follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. What's up, chat? What's up? Yo, Brandon Clark, Nick Richards, Scotty Barnes. Oh my God. Brutal yesterday. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. What are you going to do? It's NBA for you, man. Broken hand for DeJounte Murray. Sucks. Sucks so much. Weird day of games. Nothing really happened from an outcome perspective that was like weird. Just a weird day. It's a weird day. Yeah, quickly hurt. Injured pelvis. Şengün was great. He made Nick Richards look like Nick Richards had never played basketball before. So there was that. There were some pluses. There were a lot of minuses. Josh Giddey killed me. And not even just from a DFS perspective. He was sitting on 5 rebounds for so long. I needed 6. He had 5 with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Couldn't fall into one more rebound. Just annoying. Freddie, thanks for being here, man. I don't know. I'm ready to talk about basketball. I want to get away from yesterday. We've got 4 games today, one of which is exceptional, one of which is interesting, one of which is like a decent game, and then one is just a mauling, an absolute mauling. And we're going to start with the mauling. But first, you guys see it on the screen right now. The promo code is TIPOFF24. If you want to get our NBA core package, it's $1. You see it on the screen. A single $1. You'll get it all the way until the 29th. There's absolutely no reason to not take advantage of this deal. You get our projections, our ownership, the boom bust tool, our single lineup simulator, our contest generator, our regular sims, the post contest generator. Anything you could imagine on the NBA side, you get it for $1. There's no reason to not wade your way in to the Stokastic waters and come check out what we have. The worst case scenario here is that you leave down $1. Maybe the information works for you. Maybe you win a contest, you get another free month, and all of a sudden you're just going to be here forever. That would be great. At the very least, this is going to save you time and help make you better lineups for the first week of the NBA season. So go ahead, click the link in the description of this video. It'll take you directly to Stokastic. Everything will be populated. If you just want to browse directly to Stokastic, the promo code is TIPOFF. I can't even say it. TIPOFF24. TIPOFF24. Come sign up, guys. We've got a lot of people in the door so far. This deal is never going to be better than this. Maybe we offer some deals later on in the NBA season. It's never going to be $1. Join us. All righty. Let's get into this one. Shall we? Now, game number 1. I don't even want to talk about this. This is like the exact opposite game from Tuesday. The Boston Celtics started the season playing the team with the second best odds from the East of making the finals. And now they're playing, and the only reason they didn't play the team with the best odds is because they are that team. Now they are playing the team with the worst odds to make the finals. The Boston Celtics are 13.5-point favorites in Washington 233 total. And I can tell you guys, I have the line at 16.5 and a bit of the under. So if you're asking me, I want to bet Boston and the under in this game. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is the little blurb. We talked about it. I can't remember if it was Greg and I don't remember where the conversation happened. But one of the Celtics dudes, I think it was Jaylen Brown, could have been Tatum, not sure. They talked about how they have a plan in games where they're going to play shit teams like the Wizards, where they're going to get Peyton Pritchard more involved, Sam Hauser more involved, and guys like Tatum and Brown are more willing to take a bit of a backseat in games where they know that they are going to steamroll their opponent. That's this. I don't know how Washington stops them. I think the only way Washington can ever be in this game is if Boston shoots 20% from three. If Boston can get up 63s against the Knicks, they're going to have absolutely no trouble getting up 63s against the Wizards. And you'd anticipate them being better looks because the Wizards don't have OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges as point of attack defense. They have Corey Kispert. And I don't want to talk shit on Bilal Coulibaly because he's good. But we have to remember that, like, it's possible the Celtics just don't have to, like, get into a real gear. Now, Hauser's questionable. Porzingis obviously still out. No Brogdon or Sadiq Bey for the Wizards. But they're going to roll Washington here. So let's look at Boston first. And as I look at it, the first guy that I want to get, if we're talking about the DraftKings side, I want Jason Tatum. I know what I just said about them taking a bit of a step back. I think Tatum as a DFS play on DraftKings is exceptional. 9,300, small forward, power forward eligible. I have him as the best point per dollar play on Boston. He's a very different play on FanDuel. He's $800 more expensive on FanDuel, whereas Jaylen Brown is the same price on both sites. So I think it's pretty easy to like Tatum on DraftKings and then defer to Jaylen Brown on FanDuel. But we got to remember, like, the Wizards' defense is terrible. Derek White looks really good. Drew Holiday looks really good. Al Horford looks good. And it's not like I gave him some sort of minutes projection that is outwardly juiced. I expect Peyton Pritchard to look really good at 4,300/4,200. If Hauser's playing, 3,900 for him in a game where he's probably going to take a staggering amount of open threes. It's hard not to like basically every piece of Boston. And then there's Luke Cornett, if that's interesting to you. Did we just get ownership? No, not yet. But I assume it's coming. What do you guys like on the Boston side? They're so hard to talk about here today because they're like... This will be very interesting. Based on Darko plus minus, if we include their rotation down to Tillman is a positive 0.2. The Washington Wizards are not playing a single player with a positive plus minus. What that means is they don't have a single player that is league average. And they don't even really have anybody that's super close. Bug Boy with the super chat. Smashed again last night. Hashtag ball knower. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. Yeah, Tatum's the play on DraftKings. Brown is the guy you want from Boston on FanDuel. Look at the points per dollar on Boston on FanDuel. Tatum, 4.7. White, 4.7. Holiday, 4.7. Horford, 4.7. Peyton Pritchard, 4.7. They're all the same dude, man. They're all the same dude. I guess I should talk about this. When I ran my first sim, and this is very generic information to start. Derek White was in 22% of winning lineups, matching Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown came in at around 19%. Holiday, Horford, Pritchard, all around like 13 to 14%. But Derek White, he's the guy that I think will be my most exposed Celtic. 6,600, point guard, shooting guard eligible. He's a fantasy point per minute guy. Solid, gonna hit every statistical category. Projected for two stocks, which looks pretty good. So if I'm ranking Boston on the DK side, it's Tatum, White, Brown, Pritchard, Holiday, Horford. And yo, my coffee game is on point right now. I've got it dialed in. A chocolatey noted coffee, little bit of sugar-free cookie dough creamer, sugar-free cookie dough syrup, a little bit of cookie dough creamer, and a scoop of chocolate collagen protein. I am drinking a 16-ounce hot liquid chocolate chip cookie as caffeine. My life is amazing. I couldn't be happier. Okay, so unfortunately for us, there is another side of this game. We do have to talk about the Washington Wizards. Now, this team is as bad as it gets, but it's a 4-game NBA slate, and everybody has a salary. So I'm not all that enamored in Kyle Kuzma at 8K or 7,700. I think Jordan Poole looks pretty good on FanDuel. Poole's 7,400 on DraftKings, point guard only. He's 6,500 on FanDuel, point guard, shooting guard eligible. Much easier to get to Jordan Poole on the FanDuel side. So if you need to be rostering Jordan Poole, please do that on FanDuel. I think Joval looks pretty good. I don't know how much he's going to play. I went 26 minutes. I'll be interested to see what all of this looks like. Maybe I'm a little high there. We'll see. I think the best play that you can get to from Washington is Bilal Coulibaly. Shooting guard, small forward eligible, 4,200 on DraftKings. Going to be really difficult to get to on FanDuel because he's $1,200 more expensive. But Coulibaly on DK, you get guard forward eligibility. He's like the only guy on Washington that anybody gives a shit about. He had a really interesting rookie season. I think he projects really well. He got bigger, apparently. Coulibaly is the Washington guy that I think people should be getting to. Bub Carrington is sneaky at the flat 3K. Assuming he's the backup point guard and undoubtedly is going to play garbage time, which by all accounts you expect it to happen here. Bub Carrington is the flat min on DraftKings. I think he is the sneaky best play to get to from the Wizards, at least right now. I might get through the day and find out that Bub Carrington is not universally expected to play the minutes that I gave him. And even if he played a little bit less, that's going to be fine. But I think he's able to walk right in to backup or into blowout run. And I expect him to be a part of the rotation as well. That makes Bub Carrington interesting if he's going to have a salary at the absolute floor. Yeah, I think this one's a little different, picking a blowout. Like, this will sound really crazy, but like, there's probably never, like, this is probably as big of a mismatch as you've ever seen in the first week of the regular season. We're talking about the defending champs that brought everybody back, nuked their first game, and are the clear NBA champion pick against a team that has no ability to do anything of value. are truly awful to start. To be a 13.5 point dog at home in your opener is an embarrassment. It's crazy. I can't really see the path to Kispert. You'd have to anticipate more minutes. 5,800 is just too much for him. He's not a great per minute dude. I definitely don't want to get to Sar on DraftKings. If you're going to play Sar anywhere, it's going to be FanDuel, where he's $1,000 cheaper. And then I don't really want anything else from this team, that's for sure. S&P, so true. So true. All right, so that's what game one looks like. I don't think I have much more to add. Oh, Mohammed, Boston can't play down to the Wizards level. It's too far down. You could remove 4 starters from Boston and they'd still be the favorite here. Now let's get into games that... Oh my God. I can tell the season is back. Chandre in the building, saying dumb shit right out of the gate. How do you manage to say such stupid stuff constantly? I'll never understand it. Does it just come naturally? I'm betting they will miss the majority of the threes. You know who else misses the majority of their threes? Every single that plays every single day. You know the league average in three-point percentage isn't below 50, right? Or is below 50, right? Celtics are going to shoot 40% from three. You know what that means? They're going to miss the majority of their threes. I don't even... It's unbelievable. Yes, I agree. The Boston Celtics will miss the majority of their threes tonight. You know what happens if they don't? They beat Washington by 90. If Boston makes the majority of their threes, they're going to be 30 for 60. All right. Game 2. Victor Wembanyama. 8.5 point dogs with the San Antonio Spurs in Dallas. 229.5 total. I think this line is spot on. I think the total might be a little light, but nothing that I would want to immediately attack at the beginning of the season. A little bit of a new look San Antonio Spurs team here. Harrison Barnes, welcome to the squad. Chris Paul, welcome to the squad. Stephen Castle, congrats on being drafted here. No Devin Vassell, which is a shame because he is far and away the second best player on this team. I think San Antonio sucks. I think they're in for a really long year. It will help to have Chris Paul organize things, but there is no other talent. Harrison Barnes is not very good. Jeremy Sohan is not good. Keldon Johnson is not good. The rest of these guys are not good. It's a lot of not good. Unfortunately for us, this is a 4-game slate. So let's start with the guy that everybody actually cares about. Victor Wembanyama. 10,700 on DraftKings, center only. $11,500 on FanDuel, power forward center. So the price sucks for Victor, but scoring is better for him on FanDuel, and you can put him in at forward, which is massive. Massive. Aquarius, good work. Good work. Yeah, is there a San Antonio Bay? Because the Barnacle is in the building now. So I know I just sort of rallied against Jeremy Sohan, but I do kind of think he looks good today. 4,600 on DraftKings is not the correct price tag, in my opinion. I think he looks like a really nice value. Whereas Sohan on FanDuel is $1,200 more expensive. Similarly, Barnes is $1,000 more expensive on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. I think Sohan and Barnes look decent on DK. I think the guy that we're going to be getting to the most for San Antonio right now might be Julian Champagnie. Kind of depends what they do with this starting lineup. If they go Paul, Champagnie, Barnes, Sohan, Wemby, $3,800 Champagnie is a problem. If they start someone else, whether that's Castle or I guess potentially Malachi Branham or Keldon Johnson, then that could change a little bit. But Champagnie at 3,800, is he good? No, he's not. I mean, he's like an average, like he's probably like the best. He's like a really good glue person for San Antonio, but you're not going to get a lot out of him. I'm very intrigued with Champagnie at 3,800, as will the field, just because of that price tag. Small forward is traditionally the hardest position to fill, especially on a 4-game slate. So Champagnie is the guy that I think everybody should have their eye on. Pricing on FanDuel for the Spurs is pretty prohibitive, whether that's Chris Paul being $700 more expensive, or like I said, Barnes and Sohan, Wemby as well. I don't see any real path to liking Zach Collins or Trey Jones. I'd say Sohan on DraftKings, Julian Champagnie on DraftKings, Wemby either site, Chris Paul on DraftKings. You're probably staying away from San Antonio on FanDuel outside of Champagnie and Wemby. You guys like anything from San Antonio? Yeah, Wemby will not be winning the MVP. That would be a 0% chance. And then we get to Dallas. And I think this is where we're going to be paying up because the San Antonio Spurs have absolutely no ability to stop this Dallas team. Luka Doncic, $11,100 on DK, $11,900 on FanDuel, and I think he looks great. He was in the winning lineup 21% of the time during my sims on DK. I am more than happy paying up for Luka Doncic. I mean, we're talking about a guy 1.67 fantasy points per minute. What more do you want here? His partner in crime, though? $7,500 Kyrie, point guard, shooting guard eligible. I think I like Kyrie more than I like Luka. 24% optimal for me. It's a little bit more expensive on FanDuel, so it becomes a little prohibitive. But I anticipate getting to a ton of Luka and a ton of Kyrie. But I don't want to stop there. $5,100 PJ Washington looks good. $5,900 Clay, shooting guard, small forward eligible, looks really good. And then Derek Lively, $4,700 at center. Looks great. Looks great. That whole starting five for Dallas is in a really nice spot. I think this game has the highest pace for today. It does have the second highest total on the slate right now. All things are pointing to this Dallas starting lineup. I don't really have any major separations, but I think Kyrie is your best option, at least on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I think Derek Lively would be your best guy if you started two centers. But since you only start one, I think it's a little bit more likely that it's also Kyrie on FanDuel. I mean, the Spurs record will not be anywhere near MVP level record. I don't think it's possible for them to win 40 games. And you're not winning the MVP without having 50. Lively is way too cheap on DK today. $4,700 for him. That's nuts. Now, I don't really know what they're going to be doing on the bench. I don't think it's going to matter all that much today. But starting five for Dallas, that is where the focus lies. So, for this game, I would say on DraftKings, my priorities are Kyrie, Luka, Sohan, and Champagny. On FanDuel, it's going to be Champagny, Wemby, Kyrie, and Lively. Oh, S&P. I mean, he's going to be an all-star. And probably, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts. But all-star is obviously a very different thing. He should be an all-star. They should just put him in immediately right now because that's what that game is for. I mean, defensively, he is going to be amazing. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what S&P said because I get where he's going with it. If you got to the All-Star game and wanted to build a 12-man roster out of the West, I think it's very reasonable. If you were taking this in as a reward thing, I think it's very reasonable that Victor Wembanyama would not be on the All-Star team this year. Because if you're a person that wants to reward team success as well, you're getting Jokic in there before him immediately. I think at that point you end up getting Rudy Gobert in over him, as weird as that sounds, just because Minnesota is here and San Antonio is here. It's not necessarily about Wemby in particular. It's just sort of the layout of the land. If you start factoring in marketability and the fact that he is the future star, he should unequivocally just be in there because that carries his weight up. But I get the path of him not being one of the 12 guys on the best possible teams at that point. If you take Jokic and you take AD, then you're talking about someone like Rudy Gobert, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody else in the West. It does thin out, but it should be Wemby no matter what. AD cannot win Defensive Player of the Year this year. I'm pretty confident in that. I think there are only 3 people that can win Defensive Player of the Year. Wemby, Gobert, and Bam Adebayo. What's the futures market on that? DPOY is Wemby, Chet, Bam, Evan Mobley, AD. Wow, Gobert is at 24-1 now. That's wild. If I were going to bet anybody for DPOY, it would absolutely be Rudy Gobert based on his current odds. All right, Jeremy Savage. I get where you're going with that. Let's go through one hypothetical. Victor Wembanyama plays 64 games this year. They got to give it to somebody. Minnesota ends up as the 2 seed. He doesn't get cooked. Isaiah, stop watching the show. I can't do this right now. I can't do this right now. I don't anticipate AD playing 65 games. We got to remember, there's a barrier of entry now. It's not just you're in if you're in. And while AD had an incredibly healthy year last year, that is not the norm. So, as I look at it, I don't anticipate him being able, getting into 65 games. DFS temp. The public perception of Gobert's defense the past 2 years has taken a massive bump up. not down. He has a much better perception to the league now than he did before. Unequivocally. If you want to say after the first year of the trade, sure. That is not the perspective now. They just made the conference finals. He's the second best big man that can stay on the floor and guard on the perimeter. Nobody seems to care that that's true, but it is true. He's the most wrong talked about person in the league. Tyrone Fetterman. DPOY is strangely big man centric in a perimeter game. Guys like Dort and Derek White should get more love. No, they shouldn't. But I understand where you're coming from. No position on the court controls the scope of the defense as much as center. It's like valuing a quarterback sort of in the NFL. Perimeter defense, it cannot have the same weight as rim protection defense. They're just not in the same universe. So, I mean, like the year Marcus Smart won it is a farce. I don't really think there's any scenario where anyone other than a center wins it. The fact that anybody even talks about it usually is aggressively incorrect. It's basically impossible for a perimeter player to be the best defensive player over the best defensive center. You can't make up for it. All right, let's keep this one moving. We've walked our way through San Antonio. We've walked our way through Dallas. There is one thing we need to do right now, though. It's you guys need to hit the like button. Help me out a ton. Subscribe to the channel. We got a lot going on today. Let me get the schedule out. Let everybody know what we've got going for the rest of the day. Alrighty, we have NFL strategy show coming up next. We got Showdown tonight. Laffy and Matt Kajeski are going to be breaking that one down. NHL strategy coming up at 2. We've got 3 sports today, baby. I will be back with Spags at 5 o'clock for the deeper dive. Eric and Bellman will be on Live Before Lock tonight at 6. And then Laffy and Greg will be doing NFL Live Before Lock at 7:15. No playback stream today for Greg and I because of the NFL. S&P, good work. Yeah, Brandon. I think Paolo's pretty good. Was he good yesterday, though? Six of 10 at the rim, 4 of 8 from 3, 58% effective field goal percentage. Yeah, you'll take that against the Heat all day. All day. Look, if his true shooting can be 61%, the Orlando Magic are going to be a real problem. If it's 55 like it was last year, they're not going to get it done offensively. The game that everybody gives a shit about tonight, but it doesn't tip off until 10 o'clock. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 2.5-point dogs on the road in Denver. 225 total. I think the line looks right. I think the total looks right. I don't have much to add there. OKC will be without Isaiah Hartenstein. He's going to be out for the first few weeks. Alex Caruso, welcome to the team. Goodbye, Josh Giddey. Tough spot. You know, rolling into Denver, game 1 is not going to be fun. Elevation is a real thing. But as I look at it, SGA looks really good on DK, 9,900. SGA is pretty hard to get to on FanDuel at 11,300. Really, really tough to want to pay that price tag given what other pay up options are here. So probably going to leave SGA alone on FanDuel. We'll definitely get to him on DK. I think Jalen Williams is the best guy. Oh, speaking of other Jalen Williams with a Y is out, as is Kenrich Williams, and Nikola Topic is out for the year. I think Jalen Williams on DraftKings is the best guy you can get to from Oklahoma City. 6,900, small forward, power forward eligibility. The best point per dollar play for me on the team. If I'm getting anywhere in abundance, it's going to be Jalen Williams. All right. After that, I like Caruso, shooting guard, small forward eligible, 4,800. Just really great positionality, really great price. I'm happy to get to Dort, shooting guard, small forward, 4,500. Again, great positionality. Doesn't feel like a spot where I'm going to be getting to a lot of Chet. 7,500 on DK, 7,800 on FanDuel. Does have power forward eligibility on DK, which opens him up a little bit, but he's definitely my least favorite starter. If we're talking about bench guys, I don't really see it. I think Aaron Wiggins is probably the only guy that you could really roll the dice on just because he's 3,400 and small forward eligible. But again, he is a quite poor fantasy point per minute guy. So I think the focus for OKC, at least on the DK end, is going to be Jalen Williams, SGA, Caruso, Dort, then Holmgren. On FanDuel, it's going to be Jalen Williams, Caruso, and then probably not a ton of anybody else. On the Denver side, obviously the Nuggets no longer have Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They also decided, let's not really add anybody that makes that better. So Jokic clearly looks amazing. 11K on DK, 11.7 on FanDuel. Great matchup for him in that Oklahoma City does not have a single body that could actually hang with him physically. So they're going to have to be very creative defensively with no Isaiah Hartenstein. Sucks that Hartenstein's hurt. I mean, this is exactly why they got him. Oh, annoying. But 11K for Jokic, 11.7 on FanDuel. If you can scrounge up the salary, do it. He's probably the best play on DraftKings. He's the best pay up option you can get to, I think. 22% optimal for me. The other guy that I would want to get to from Denver is going to be Michael Porter Jr. 5,800. Small forward, power forward eligible. 20% winning lineup for me. I like the position. The fact that he's sub 6K looks good. You know, is he the most fun guy to get to? No, not really. I love this rebounding spot, though, for Denver, whether that's Jokic, whether that's Porter, whether that's Gordon. Not a lot of bulk for Oklahoma City here with no Hartenstein. So I think that if OKC happens to have like a slightly negative shooting day, Denver is just going to drown themselves in rebounds. And I think that looks pretty good if that's a direction you want to go. And then Christian Brown, assuming Christian Brown is the starter at the 2 in place of KCP, shooting guard, small forward, 4,400. He's just a little underpriced. He's a shit per minute guy, but 19% optimal for me on the DraftKings end. Christian Brown is the third best guy you can get to for Denver. I have very little interest in Jamal Murray. I have even less interest in Jamal Murray on FanDuel. Gordon looks okay. Julian Strawther for 3,200 on DK is underpriced. Could easily grab a chunk of minutes more than Christian Brown. We don't really know how they're going to lock this down as we move forward. So a $3,200 Julian Strawther has a lot of upside because of his position and because of his price. Definitely a sneakier guy for me. Don't really have any interest in Dario Saric because he's center only. Peyton Watson could be sneaky. I do not have any interest in Russell Westbrook at 5K. That is a hard pass. So if I'm summing up this game on the DraftKings side, SGA, Jalen Williams, Caruso, Jokic, Porter, Christian Brown. On the FanDuel end, Jalen Williams, Alex Caruso, Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown. What do you guys like in Nuggets Thunder? Bug Boy, that seems smart. That seems really smart. You guys got anything for me? How many people we have in the door? I have 420 people in here. Jamming Jalen. I like it. I like it. SGA and Chet. MPJ. Yeah, Diggs, I love that too. And then he scores 100. Aaron Gordon. Yeah, I think we're all looking at the same sort of stuff here. Which means we can close this out talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Sacramento Kings. Minnesota 1.5 point favorites in Sacramento, 220 total. Obviously, we've already seen Minnesota. I think this line is correct. I think the total is correct. So I don't have anything truly dialed in here. On the Minnesota side, not much looking interesting, if I'm being honest. They all kind of look similar. I can tell you this. I definitely don't want Jaden McDaniels on DraftKings. But after that, Ant looks pretty good at 8,800, but he's shooting guard only, which is kind of annoying. I think Julius Randle looks solid enough at 7,800, power forward center. I think DiVincenzo is probably the second best option on Minnesota at 5,200. But like, you can see it. 18% optimal, 13, 15, 16, 11. There's just not a lot separating this Minnesota team. Yeah, happy to get to Nickeil Alexander-Walker at 4,100. Happy to get to Naz Reid. I think you're just probably picking like one or two dudes from Minnesota all the time. And it doesn't really, like, whichever one fits for that lineup is totally cool. Randall looks a lot better on FanDuel. He's $500 cheaper. Rudy Gobert looks really good on FanDuel at 7,400. I'm really worried about Mike Conley. Was not good in the opener. Played limited minutes. 28 minutes might be too high for him, which might make Mike Conley not look all that great. But it's on the DK end, Ant, DiVincenzo, Randall. On the FanDuel side, Gobert, Randall, Naz Reid because of that power forward eligibility. And then for Sacramento, I think these guys look a lot better. In particular, a $9,500 Domantas Sabonis has power forward eligibility, and that is massive for how much you could roster him. To me, looks like probably the best overall option from Sacramento. I like Sabonis a lot more than I like De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis is a little bit more difficult to want to get to on FanDuel because it's just center, and we have a ton of really good center options, but Sabonis on DraftKings is a thing. I think Malik Monk for $5K on DraftKings is worth a flyer if his ownership is low. If everybody's there, then I'd be more interested in one of the other guys. But if he's a little low owned, I like the idea of getting to Monk just because he's such a self-fulfilling prophecy. If the shot's going, he's going to close and play more minutes. Keegan Murray looks fine. Definitely more of a DraftKings play than a FanDuel play. He's 5,500 on DK, 6,100 on FanDuel. Fox is fine. I definitely am not playing De'Aaron Fox on FanDuel at 9,400. That is an absolutely terrible price tag. Keon Ellis on DK is a decent enough value. You could poke around with Kevin Huerter if you want. I guess the guy that we probably really want to touch on is DeMar DeRozan. Small forward, power forward eligible on DK, 7,800. He's small forward, power forward eligible on FanDuel, 8K. I don't think he looks good at all. To me, he looks like the worst starter from the Kings. Maybe they try to integrate him a little bit more. I have him projected for 20 points, 5 assists, and 4 boards. So I don't think I'm being like crazy about it, but he's like an average player. I don't love it. I don't love it. Sabonis, though, looks really good on DK, and so does Malik Monk. Malik Monk having small forward eligibility really changes the game. There's no reason he should. That should be point guard, shooting guard, if it's anything. That would look a little bit different. But shooting guard, small forward, yeah, I like it a lot. So I guess let me sum this up. How many guys did I have over 20% win rate on DK? Jason Tatum, Derek White, Sohan, Doncic, Irving, Shea and Jalen Williams are both at 19. Jokic and Porter, Christian Brown at 19. Ant at 18, Sabonis at 20, Malik Monk at 22. Every name that I just said is sort of like my core, and you'll see a lot of those names at the top of the contenders list when I put out the contenders video in a couple minutes. Do we have ownership yet? We do not. Oh, all right. What are you guys looking at? Sam, there has been 2 Champagnes in the league. What are you guys looking at? Who's your favorite play? Let me know in chat. Your favorite play on the slate. And also, don't forget, $1 for the tip-off 24 promo NBA core package. $1 until October 29th. Projections, ownership, boom bust, single game, single lineup sim, regular sims, contest generator, post-contest simulation data, everything you could possibly want. It only costs you $1. Cancel it anytime. Do not sleep on this deal, folks. It's as good as it gets. Luka the fave. Luka, Jokic. Alvin says Wemby. Whoops. Didn't know I did that. Accidentally left. All right, coffee's done. I think we've taken a look at everything we can see here for the first 4 games. We're having some data issues right now, so I can't run any sims for a second. Was that my EKG? Yes, it was. WV, can he play over 30 minutes? The hell is WV? Jake, yeah, it is. I have Jokic at 35 minutes, but I don't have anybody else on Denver over 32. I don't think they're going to be like too cautious in a matchup against OKC. Oh, Victor Wembanyama. Got it. Yeah, just type Wemby. VW is never Victor Wembanyama. Let's just put that out there right now. Can he play over 30 minutes? I mean, he averaged over 30 minutes last year. Seems like he should. Or at the very least, seems like he can. Dull Lemon. Whatever happened to ship my money? Died. I think we're about done here, guys. NFL strategy show is going to be coming up in about 10 minutes. I've got contenders coming out in a little bit. Odds Shopper live on the Odds Shopper channel will be at, what is it? Noon? Yeah, John, I'm going to go ahead and throw out the beginning of the season of Wemby when he wasn't playing the same role. But I know you won't do that. You'll be weird about it. Oh, it's great that the NBA is back. We got a big one again tomorrow. I think it's 10 games. We're going to put in quite the shift. Hopefully we have our sims and everything ready. We can run some lineups at the end of it all. Because prep will be a little bit easier. Sign up for my Tails package if you want. I don't know if the link's in the description, but that'd be cool. I'm not moving the goalpost, man, but he wasn't. The minutes at the beginning of the season aren't the same for Victor Wembanyama. Oh, my God. It's weird, man. When we get back to this NBA season, there's definitely things I don't miss. Anyway, hit the like button on your way out the door. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Watch the NFL strategy show coming up next. Good luck, everybody. Talk to you later.